Hey guys, if you're currently on a Section 8 voucher or on a wait list, you're probably panicking because of the changes by Elon Musk and the commander in chief and our new guy over at HUD. Now, I'm here to tell you that there's not too much that you should be worried about, but I understand where you're coming from. Now, in this video, I'm going to shed some light about some fraudulent activity that has been happening in the affordable housing and Section 8 industry for over 20, maybe even 30 years now. What's happening in this government is that you're seeing the chickens come home to roost. Now, you're the general public, so you don't really know what's been going on behind the scenes. My name is Victoria Langford, and I am your credit solutionist and lead debt elimination strategist over at mycreditcall.com. I also have over 16 years of experience in the Section 8 and affordable housing industry. I started out as a property manager, and then I moved over into the compliance and auditing part of this industry. Once I moved over, everything changed as far as my perspective on misreporting, underreporting income, all kinds of crazy things that happen. Companies across this country, and dare I say the world, lose millions of dollars in underpaid or overpaid subsidy. HUD itself has hemorrhaged billions of dollars since I've gotten in this industry to people that honestly don't necessarily deserve or need to receive the amount of subsidy that they do. So when I talk to you about this stuff on this video today, I'm speaking from experience. These papers come across my screens. I have 1,000 screens here in my room. I look at this stuff every single day. You're not talking to a content creator that just read an article and is coming to regurgitate information. On this channel, I only talk about it if I'm living it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're returning, come on in, take off your shoes, and let me know what you're drinking because I gotcha. Now, these changes, like I said, have been in the works for the last 10, 20, even 30 years. This is just the administration that has been tasked with doing it and with tightening the budget and with checks and balances. Like them, love them, it doesn't matter. This was going to happen regardless. Once an organization, whether it's in the government or private sector, once they start hemorrhaging and it gets into the billions, somebody has to pay. And we got to go backwards and figure out what's going on. Now, when I was on the ground as a property manager in the Section 8 housing industry, I ran across all three of these Section 8 housing fraud violations. So we're just going to cover three in this video today. And by the way, if I haven't told you already, go ahead and like the video, whether you like the information I'm giving or not, and whether you're one of these fraudulent residents or not. I don't care, but you're going to listen and you're going to hear some expertise from what I consider myself to be, and that's an expert in this field. All right. So let's go ahead and jump on into this because I'm not really mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for making some of these changes that they're about to. Okay. So here's the three most common Section 8 housing fraud violations. Okay. Now, signs of Section 8 housing and fraud and violations. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can detect some signs. Some really obvious stuff would be like if you have a resident that says there's zero income, yet they have like maybe 4 or 5 children in the house. Well, how are you zero income, but you have all of these children in your house? Somebody's giving you money or some kind of money's rolling into that apartment. So we need to figure out what that is. It's your job as the resident to come and report those changes. We have a book called the HUD 4350. It's public domain. It's on HUD.gov. I would definitely recommend that anybody that is collecting Section 8 or thinking about it, go read that book. Now, it is pretty big. So if you think that that's too big for you, there's another document that's called the How Your Rent is Determined. It's a very small pamphlet, but it tells you exactly some of the things that I'm going to go over in today's video to tell you what we're looking for to determine how much your rent's going to be, okay, with that Section 8. Now, what is Section 8 housing fraud? It says simply here, it's just someone misrepresenting what is going on in their household, whether that's your income situation, your housing composition situation, education, deductions. If you're misrepresenting any part of what your financial life looks like, HUD is going to have a problem with that. Tell the truth. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Now, examples of housing violations. This is what you came for. Number one is going to be subletting. That's right here. Now, what subletting is in a nutshell is you rent the unit, you have your name on the lease, but you are inviting other people to come into your home that are not on the lease, and those people pay you a little bit of rent, and then you pay your full amount, but you're still, skimming something off the top there. That's what subletting is. Now, in Section 8, that is 100% prohibited from top to bottom, left to right. There is no legal way to sublet unless you are someone that owns the property and you are renting it out through a Section 8 program or voucher. Okay. There's no way that you can make subletting okay as a tenant from tenant to tenant in Section 8. When you think about what Section 8 is as a whole, it is a last ditch effort before you were out on the street. So it would stand to reason that if you get a Section 8 housing voucher or a program-based Section 8 voucher, that you would be thankful enough, grateful enough that you wouldn't jeopardize that by then charging someone else rent and pocketing that money. Section 8 is for people that are probably going to be on the streets if that assistance was not available. So when you look at it from that aspect, I just want you to kind of be objective about it, right? So it's never okay to just rent your Section 8 room to somebody else if they're not on the lease. That's not okay, because now you're taking money out of the conventional renter's pocket. That's me and whoever else lives in that building, right? So that's subletting in a nutshell. Reason number 2 for fraud that I see all the time, comes across my desk every single day as an auditor. It says here, correctly reporting income. Section 8 housing provides assistance for those whose income does not exceed the amount established by the Public Housing Authority. Now, in most cases, the 50% income limit is what we actually use. So let's say that the median income in your neighborhood is $50,000. If you make somewhere between 25 and 30,000 by yourself, or whatever the parameters are for your county, you would qualify for Section 8. Now, if you are incorrectly reporting your income and you're telling us that you only make 30,000, but after a year, we use a special system. I'm not going to tell you what it is here, but we have a system where we can log in and check your information to see whether or not you were telling the truth. In this digital age, misreporting your income is not the way to go, because even if you try to hide money out of your bank accounts and put it in Cash App, PayPal, whatever, you get paid under the table. The point is, if any of that money ever slides through one of your fintech applications, so think Cash App, Venmo, what's another one, PayPal, any of that, if you've received over $600 in any of those accounts, that's already reported to the IRS. So you're still gonna get got, whether it's through Section 8 or through the Uncle Sam. Somebody's gonna get you, right? So misreporting income or not reporting income in the digital age is just not a smart thing to do, right? So Section 8 has their ways of doing it, and I use one of their systems all the time, and I see fraud all the time. Now, luckily, my job is not to uncover it and report it. My job is just to point it out. It's to say, hey, you may want to look at this, see what you want to do, property owner. That's my job. Now, some people may misreport their income to take advantage of the benefit of only paying 30% of their gross annual income in rent. Now, it's not always misreporting salary. So let's say, like I said, in that $50,000 example, sometimes you can actually do it in the form of income or income from assets. So let's say that you have a IRA that has $1 million in it, but you decided not to report that. Well, that's a problem, because in that IRA, even though you may not be able to pull that income away, an IRA or 401k, though you may not be able to pull that money out of that account, you're still getting income through interest and dividends. And if you're over a certain age, you're getting a required minimum distribution, which actually is counted as income. So I don't want to get into the weeds with that, but there's so many different ways that you don't think that we are tasked with looking at your income and assets to see if you're misreporting your financial situation. But there's a lot of ways to find out. That's why that book that I talked about, the 4350, is a very important document that you should go ahead and read. There's a PDF that's available on HUD.gov. I'll see if I can link one in the description below. The best way to hide things from people is to put it in a book. And I don't care who you are or what color you are. A lot of people don't like to read. A lot of these documents that tell you what you should and shouldn't report are in your move-in paperwork. It's up to you as the resident to read things before you sign them, or at least read them after you sign them. All right, so incorrectly reporting income. This is huge, again, because I've seen people go from even $5,000 of unreported income all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars in unreported income. There's always going to be a way for your property manager or your owner or me, the compliance and auditing person, to come through and sift through and see what is missing. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information that you probably don't want, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. And we're not doing any cuts in this video. So, what I find is that a lot of people will not report, or they'll get paid cash under the table and they'll somehow try to put that money into their account 1 month here, 2 months there, whatever. They'll pretty much just try to sneak the money into the bank account. Well, here's what happens. Let's say you have a property owner that is extremely busy. So what do? They hire a property management company. Now, said property management company has a ton of properties in their portfolio anyway. So they're not really scrutinizing that one owner's property that they have, right? So they're not giving the manager that's on site proper training to look at these things. Now, what do you think happens when that occurs? When they know that their staff can't watch after the paperwork and the owner can't do it themselves and neither can the management company? Well, they hire a third party compliance and auditing company to go through, and we go through with a fine tooth comb, okay? We look at everything because our job is essentially to be scavengers at the bottom of the ocean. We're the catfish, we're the shrimp. We're all the bottom feeders, baby. And I am the proudest bottom feeder that you'd ever meet. Okay. I am here to literally look for everything and find the checks and balances. It's not personal. It's just something that has to be done because my tax dollars are at stake and so are yours because of these income misreportings. Okay. Now I'm going to get off my soapbox and let's go to the number 3 type of fraud that you will find in Section 8 housing, and that is attempting to bribe. Now, I have had over 15 years, 16 years plus experience in this industry. Have I been approached with a bribe before? Yes, I have. Have I succumbed to it and given in? No, I have not, because I know for a fact that residents talk. Now, what does a bribe look like? A bribe looks like getting on a wait list for a voucher or for a, project-based rental assistance voucher and paying the property manager five, 600, thousands of dollars for them to skip people in front of you and let you jump the line. Now, back in the day when there were paper wait lists, you could probably do that, but most things are pretty much electronic now, where it's going to be kind of hard to finagle that once that stamp is already in that software that you're using respectively. Now, bribery can also look like paying to get remodeling done in your unit, because if you're in a big building that all has complete Section 8 through 100% of the units, HUD has to approve any remodeling that you do. But sometimes there's been managers that will take money from a resident to put in wood floors, for example. Well, HUD has to approve that because they're paying 70% of that owner's rent or that owner's mortgage. So they want to know what is being spent. Why are you putting wood floors in that unit? Why can't your tenant use carpet? We need to know these things. So a lot of times managers will skate past that and they will take bribes to make, alterations to the apartment. Um, Let people rent early. What's another reason or another way that I've seen people use bribery? Bribery could also be if you're an on-site manager and tenants always cook you food. So you maybe overlook certain things or maybe don't pay attention to their daughter that just moved in because she's fallen on hard times. Well, here's another thing that a lot of people don't know. If you have somebody in your home for over 14 days and you have Section 8, whether it's a voucher or project-based assistance, you have to report them as a resident. These are little things that people don't think about. That's fraud if you have somebody move in and they stay for more than 14 days. That's fraud if you don't report it. We got to start looking at that person's income and assets because why are they in your house, right? So these are things that, again, the reason they matter, it's not a matter of, trying to be overbearing over people. It's a matter of You need this assistance. You're asking the government and us as taxpayers to help you. The least you could do is be upfront and honest with us because that's money out of our pockets, right? The reason that the DOGE situation is happening is because people haven't reported things accurately, because a lot of it has been clerical errors, but some of it has been done purposely. So I'm not going to say whether or not I believe it's right or wrong, but I'm going to say if anything comes in this news cycle that I can see is being sensationalized because now I have a footprint in that industry, I'm going to speak on it because I don't want people that have no experience reading a news article and just jumping in and giving you a video that gets a million views. They don't know what they're talking about. They read an article. I read the actual book. I have to do the trainings every year. I have to do a Department of Defense training every year. Okay. I'm in there like swimwear. So you're talking to an expert right here. But if you have any questions and you want to talk about some Section 8 stuff, now I am not a HUD hired professional. I'm going to let you know that. I'm not HUD. I'm a third party. I am a liaison, but I am properly trained and credentialed in this industry. But if you want to have a chat with me, go on over to mycreditcall.com. You can feel free to book what I will tag as a housing discussion or housing consultation. Again, not legal advice. It's essentially just information purposes only. But if you have a situation that you want to discuss about your Section 8 voucher, we can talk about it and I can direct you to the entity or department that can help you the best. Now, I know y'all are like, what video in the world was she talking about where people were getting mad at her? Well, it's the one where I talked about the general idea that housing is getting terminated and why I don't think that that's going to happen. And you can go ahead and check out that video somewhere up here. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Credit Solutionist out. Peace.